All right, welcome back to Jack Chaucer's Storyteller, reading Nicky White Polar Extremes, third book in the Nicky series. And we are on chapter 20 called Red Flags from Thomas's point of view. Still Valentine's Day 2020. Me and Willem crunched through the snow, each of us straightening and securing parallel lines of red flags between the base and the dark sector telescopes. Sure, it was 45 below, but by now that felt normal to me. The sun was sinking into the snow and winter was coming. Pretty soon, 45 below would seem like a warm and distant summer dream, the old man had told me. As we began walking back from the telescopes with the flag lines looking good again, the sound of a Hercules began to reach my ears, even through all of the layers of covering my head. I stopped, turned, and cleared some crystals off my goggles. Sure enough, there she was, a big, fat prop plane approaching from who the fuck knows. Directions make no sense when you're standing at the South Pole. Willem joined me in staring up at the last plane into base between now and late October. Then he lowered his scars for a chat, so I did the same. You've done well so far, he said. Now comes the real test. I nodded. A long winter. I'm ready. He shook his head. That's only part of it. There's someone on that plane you're not going to like, but you better find a way to swallow your hate and shake his hand, or you'll be leaving here after the plane refuels. My heart began to pound. Who else could it be? Adam fucking Upton, I shouted. Yes. Fuck that. I'm not shaking his hand. He's a fucking rat. He's the reason I'm here in the first place. He bailed out on me and then sold me out to the cops. Willem just stared at me. You disappoint me, he finally said. Don't give me that shit. You're not my fucking father. Then he got right up in my face. No, I'm more than the fucking father you never had. I'm the only hope you've got. Don't don't you want to be a hero or a zero? Do you want to be a hero or a zero like you used to be? Hit me now and I'll have my answer. I thought about hitting him for a long moment, but finally I backed away and pounded my gloves together instead. Smart move, he said. We've got big plans for you and Nicky. The kind of plans only the bridge can pull off. But it all comes down to this. If you go off the rails when Upton gets off that plane, you and Nicky and the whole lot of you will be getting right back on in a couple hours. You can go back to rot at wherever you came from, and we'll move on to the next group. You'll be forgotten without a second thought. My heart was still racing as the Hercules plopped down and slid along the skiway. When the engines revved down a notch and I could hear again, Willem got in one last shot. If you pull any shit after that plane leaves, we'll make sure you'll never find these, he said, grabbing a red flagpole on some night when it's 100 below. Do we have an understanding? I glared at him. More or less, I said through gritted, shattering teeth. Willem looked like he wanted to spit in my face. I'm not afraid to fucking die if that's the way things turn out, I added. Then seal your own fate, he said. Suicide by pride. I watched as he marched ahead toward base without me. By the time I readjusted my scarves and goggles, I could see a bunch of green parkas exiting the plane and walking across the skiway. I honestly didn't know what the fuck I'd do when I saw that asshole face to face again. It's the end of chapter 20. We'll be back for 21.